the United Stand. I hope you're all doing well this Thursday evening. We're going to be talking about Jadon Sancho and a potential threat from the Liga, and some interesting quotes from Fabrizio Romano about Paul Pogba, also about a potential Premier League return and what that means, and taking your questions as usual. I hope you're all doing well. Of course, I'm a little bit late today because I normally do the clap on the show, and I thought today I'm going out on the street. It's 8 o'clock, it's NHS Thursday, we clap out, and I feel I've been missing out because I've been doing it with you lot on the show at 8 o'clock, and today I wanted to get out on the street, and I tell you what, what a great feeling that is, how great it is that, you know, every street, every house on my street, I don't even know some people in their houses because you just don't. Everybody clapping, woo, everything, brilliant, and, you know, mainly, obviously, the main reason we're doing this is because of the great work the NHS are doing in this crisis. But surely, from all this, when we come out of this, which we will come out of this, we'll all come out of it a little bit closer together because we're having to do this. We're having to stay in. We're having to isolate. And this weekend, it's very important that you do that. The weather's been fantastic in the UK. It'll be a great weekend. Don't have a party. Don't go and see relatives. Self-isolate. Keep doing what we're clapping for on a Thursday night. Keep sticking together. And we'll come out of this. I'm inspired by it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic what people are doing. And our NHS are the heroes. They are the heroes. Which is why I'm wearing the blue. Superman blue for the NHS. I'm going to wear this every Thursday night now. Because they're super. They're absolutely fantastic. Anyway, smash a like on the video. Let's get into it. I'm feeling inspired. Tonight. So, yeah, we're going to start off with two very good stories to get into, actually. Totally separate. One about Pogba, Fabrizio Romano, who everyone loves Fabrizio Romano and his transfer news. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's start off with Jadon Sancho. Now, look. Everybody wants a piece of the Jadon Sancho pie at the moment, don't they? You know, the mainstream media, the MSM, as we call them, they've all done it. But this was a very interesting story. Now, some of you may have read it, so I'll summarise it. So the Times is I think probably the oldest outlet in the UK when it comes to newspapers. The Times is a very, very credible, established outlet. It's not the Sun and it's not the Daily Mirror, which can be a little bit, you know, United are going to sign Ronaldo and Messi for 20 quid. You know, they might print that there. The Times isn't like that. So when the Times says something, I do tend to take a little bit of notice of it, and so do many other people. So what are the Times saying? They're basically saying that Jadon Sancho representatives are more eager for Jadon Sancho to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid than come to England. And we've never really thought of that. I've never thought of it, and I'm sure many of you haven't. Thanks for joining the United Stand Members Club, Jem Rooney. Really appreciate everyone who's supporting the channel at the moment. So, yeah, I do find it quite... and I had to sort of... I don't know what you lot think, but I had to think about this. Why are we not putting Barcelona or Real Madrid into the Jadon Sancho argument? Why are we just thinking it's between Chelsea and United? Like, Chelsea are 4th in the league, and we're 5th in the league. And we're after a player who is going to be one of the top 5 players in the world within the next couple of years. And yet Chelsea and United think it's just between them. Like, why are Liverpool not in this race? The Champions League holders, the Premier League title winners elect. Why are Barcelona and Real Madrid not in this race? You know, the two clubs that seem to get all the talent over the last 20 years. The answer is they are in the race. We just don't want to accept that there might be other people in this race. We don't want to accept that he's going anywhere else other than United. And that's basically what this Times article is saying, that Jadon Sancho is a very ambitious person. And yeah, coming back to the Premier League appeals, but so would playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona if they made their moves. And, you know, people who say he doesn't want to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, hello, he's gone from Manchester City to Germany as a teenager. He will definitely go to La Liga if the move is appealing to him. So, and the story is that the representatives of Jadon Sancho or advisors are saying that La Liga would be the right move to go for. Now, of course, I'm not too well versed on what La Liga's, Barcelona and Real Madrid's plans are this summer. I don't know what Barcelona are looking to do. I thought Griezmann was a bad signing for them last summer, and I think that that was a lot of money they spent. They're going to be in a financial situation that many clubs are in, but we think United have got money. As for Real Madrid need a Jadon Sancho. I mean, to be honest with you, Real Madrid need a Jadon Sancho, a Harry Kane, and Hazard back to his best. They're not the team they were, so they might look at him. You might get a scenario where somebody was saying this the other day, that United seem to have done this a couple of times. We won't go for Tielemans if you let us have Harry Maguire. We won't go for Bellingham, Dortmund, if you let us have Sancho. But what if Real Madrid say, we won't go for Sancho if you let us have Pogba? So, interesting things how this might work, but very interesting that the Times are talking about this. And I think it's certainly interesting to see how this Jadon Sancho story develops. I mean, what it does say in the same article, to be fair, is advisors are saying Real Madrid and Barcelona, but friends who are close to him think he's going to go to England, think he's going to come to Manchester United. So friends or advisors, which way is he going to go? And he obviously has got this relationship with Rashford and Lingard. But I mean, Lingard, yeah, whatever. Lingard's probably not a first teamer. Rashford is. They're playing each other at FIFA tomorrow night, actually, at 5 o'clock on the England YouTube channel, Sancho and Rashford. So they are good friends, and I think that they would be an exciting link-up. But I do think that it's interesting that the Times have wrote that about La Liga, because look, I'm still confident. I'm not going to change what I said the other night. I'm still confident he's going to come to Manchester United, but I do also think we have to be a little bit open-minded here. We can't offer Champions League football at the moment. Real Madrid and Barcelona always can. Liverpool certainly will be able to do that. If one of those three clubs go in for him, let's not be arrogant and think he's just going to come to United, because he might not, and we've got to be very careful about that. The Athletic have said Sancho wants to go back to Manchester and also wants to play with Rashford. Would be stunned if he didn't join, to be honest, as prodigy. Yeah, but the Athletic have said other things. What we were talking about, an article from the Athletic last week that just absolutely stunned me. I can't remember what it was. So, and Manchester United's correspondent for the Athletic used to be the Daily Mail before he went to the Athletic. So you don't just suddenly go to the Athletic and you shit gold. Look at where these journalists were before. Some of them, David Ornstein, very good. Some of them worked for the Daily Mail or somebody else. So just because you go there doesn't mean you're suddenly the oracle. I think some people treat that, because you have to pay for it, like it's the best outlet ever. I don't think it's the best outlet. I know which journalist I trust the most, and it's not necessarily that outlet. So, all outlets can talk crap. All of them can be quite credible at times. And I think the Times have come out, talking about the Times have made quite an interesting case there. I agree, though. I do think that Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho. I do. I've said that. I'm not going to go back on that. But what I also know is that Real Madrid can be a little shit when they want to be. And Real Madrid could enter this race and say, we want you. And then, if you're Jadon Sancho playing in Germany, oh yeah, I do want to go back to Manchester, but Real Madrid, you just don't know how it's going to work out. But I do think we'll get him as well. Since Sancho will definitely come to United, says Hadi Bruv, and Agent Rashford is best for Jadon Sancho coming to United, says Liam Gaming. I think I've got to say this. I think that the part that people like Marcus Rashford or Ronaldo, getting Bruno to come to United, I think it makes for a nice story for the fans, and it's great paper talk, all this Agent Rashford and Agent Ronaldo and Agent John Terry when they got players to Chelsea. Ultimately, though, what sway does Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, John Terry or any other footballer have when it comes to sitting down with Ed Woodward and the player's agent and sorting out wages, etc.? It doesn't matter how much Marcus Rashford says, come and play with me at United, Jadon. If we don't deliver the terms that are preferable to him against another club, doesn't matter about that. It helps because it makes him feel like, well, if I go there, I'm great mates with him. But ultimately, it's a small piece of the pie, and I don't think we should all. I see a lot of this, and I think a lot of people get carried away with it. Oh, Agent Rashford. Well, he is a help, but he ain't going to sit down and sort out the intricacies of his contract. And United do need to deliver the correct contract. So Rashford can have a little part in it, but ultimately this is going to be down to Woodward and Co. to deliver the right contract, because there will be some good offers on there. We know Chelsea will be able to get in there, and we know maybe other clubs will. But it's just interesting how somebody as credible as the Times are saying that there may well still be a threat from La Liga. George Kyle says he's already got his Sancho shirt. And Agent Rashford 007. Why is no one looking at the alternative of cancelling the season? And when the new one starts, there won't be any Champions League that season to go into the new world we live in. Says John Gunner. Thanks for bringing the mood down, John. Lindelof as a centre midfielder, says Benji Parker. No. And Real Madrid might do a swap deal for Hakimi and Sancho. It's a possibility, says Swap Nil Kunda. And of course it helps because the player will try as opposed to making no effort. Weird flex, that one, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, look, let me just talk about this before I talk about Pogba then. So there's a story coming out today that the English Football League have told their players that you're not allowed to train before the 16th of May, and which is obviously over a month away. No training before the 16th of May, and to tell your players to take your holidays now because they won't get a holiday between the end of the season and the start of the new season. I mean, I find this quite odd, right? Because I understand no training till May, and players could train for a couple of weeks and maybe start playing at the start of June, have a mini season, have a mini break, and then come back for the new season. I understand that, but so they're saying no training till the 16th of May, and they're telling their players to take all their holidays before then because there will be no time for holidays between the end of the season and the start of the new season. What I don't understand is, how are these players supposed to be taking holidays when they're on bloody lockdown till the middle of May? Like, I think I'll have a couple of weeks in the shed and then I'll have a couple of weeks in the loft. Like, how are they supposed to take their holidays? And that's the bit that I thought, is this story load of bullshit? Because how is anybody, especially a footballer, going to get a phone call from their club saying, we're not going to be back on training till May, but when we come back in May, we're going to be training, we'll play the games in June and July, we'll have a tiny little break, and then we'll start the new season. There'll be no time for your holiday to Benidorm, so take your holiday now. Where am I going to go on holiday? You know, so I don't know about that. I think it makes sense that there won't be any training till May, and we'll see football in June or July, and then we'll have a small break, and then we'll see the start of the new season. But quite how somebody's meant to take a holiday at the moment, I don't know. And also, I am not opposed to the fact that we might not see European football coming back. I think we'll see domestic football coming back, but a lot of you won't be old enough to remember that when I was a kid, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. We didn't have European football. I saw Liverpool winning league titles, teams winning the FA Cup like Wimbledon and Coventry City, and they didn't get to play in Europe because we'd been banned from Europe, and I loved football. So it would be difficult for you lot, I presume, who've only ever seen European football. But if you're asking me, you can have domestic football or no football. I'll take domestic football. So, yeah. Here is the deal, Mark. Sancho is smart. Going to Madrid looks amazing on paper, but will probably kill his career. Look at Jovic. He goes there. No guarantee he'll play. He comes to United. He will start as Magic Eye. Very, 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 very good point there. Thanks for the contribution, PMV Patrick. Very, very, very good point there from Magic Eye. And this is one of the things we were talking about the other night. You have a situation whereby if Jadon Sancho comes to Manchester United, he will play in a team with not a lot of pressure. I mean, there's pressure because everyone expects him to be a brilliant player, but he's coming into a club where we've got a massive, massive hole in the right wing. He knows he'll be loved. He knows the fans want him, and he knows he's coming into a team that's not Premier League winners. There's not a pressure there. It's on its way up. It's the perfect project. You're absolutely spot on. Manchester United is the perfect project for Sancho. Real Madrid could be the dream, but it's not the perfect project. You go to Real Madrid, you don't play well in your first 10 games, you're going to get booed. You come to United and you don't do well in the first 10 games, we'll be patient. And people who says we won't be patient, look at Fred. Awful first year. Lindelof, awful first year. There wasn't many people saying Fred's shit, booing Fred. Lindelof's crap. There was a few, but not hardly any. So Sancho will get given time at United as well. At Real Madrid, you don't necessarily get that. Nishant Braham says, some channels have a catchy title and take 40 minutes to get to it. You get right to it. Something I always appreciate. Thank you to your Football Index folio. Well, I think if your video's called something, you really should start talking about it pretty soon into the video. But I know what you mean. I mean, I don't know in relation to football channels, but I have seen these videos before. Like, I bathed in a bath of green pop, and then the first 20 minutes of it are them talking about it before they actually do it. But I suppose it's all about watch time. I agree with Magic Eye, says Ajmal Cosman. All these talents have not succeeded in Madrid and Barcelona. Look at Ousmane Dembele. Well, you know, before I even got to the end of that, Ajmal, I was thinking about Ousmane Dembele, and he is a Dortmund player. So, look, I said the other night, 70% sure that Sancho will come. I think Sancho will come. All I'm saying is there is a story from the Times. They're quite credible, saying that his advisors are saying to go in La Liga. But his friends believe he'll come to United. I believe he'll come to United. I'm not an advisor. I'm not a friend. I'm just an observer and a United fan. And I think he'll come to United as well. But what I would say is, yeah, maybe we should be a little bit wary. You know, there's still a lot of things that can happen with this deal. But it's in United's hands. If we come back and we get Champions League football, it's done. It's that simple. It really is. And Ethan Buchanan says, if Pogba stays, how does Pogba and Bruno play in the same midfield? Keep up the great work. Ethan, all I would say is, whether I like it or not, the start of the season we didn't have Bruno Fernandes, and our midfield was Pogba and McTominay against Chelsea, and I think it was... Who played as the attacking midfielder? Was it Pereira or was it Lingard? I don't remember, but Pogba and McTominay played in the two holding positions. Pogba has predominantly played this season as a holding midfielder in a holding midfield too. So that's how Bruno and Pogba play together, because Pogba will play as one of the holding midfielders with Bruno in the more advanced position. I don't like that, but that's your answer to your question. It's simple as that. I did see something today as well that I'd forgotten to say in my notes, but I did see something today that United, in relation to transfers, they're very active, they're very ready, but they're going to wait, because sorting deals out at the moment would be stupid, considering you don't know what market you're going to be operating in when the transfer window opens. Like, for example, United may feel that they want Jack Grealish, and Aston Villa may well say, well, you can have him for 60 million. By the time this season ends, they get relegated. Lots of clubs have lost a lot of money, and there's only a small transfer window. United, I think, fancy their chances in that small transfer window to get some good business done. So that's what I saw today. Pereira was on the wing, says King Nargum. It must have been Lingard starting then. I think I think Pog virus will go from United to Illa United. Well, that leads nicely into my next topic. Paul Pogba, surprise, surprise. But this one is, again, driven by credibility. This is coming from Fabrizio Romano. For people who don't know who Fabrizio Romano is, get out. You know, who are you? No, but seriously. Fabrizio Romano is an Italian journalist. Marzio is a very credible Italian journalist. And over the last few years, Fabrizio Romano has sort of worked with Marzio, or under Marzio, or for Marzio. But over the last couple of years, he's sort of taken over Marzio as this journalist that everybody looks to for credible transfer news. So he was doing a Q&A today, and he was asked about Paul Pogba, and what he said was that this story that Paul Pogba, I think it came from L'Equipe or maybe an AS at the start of the week, that Paul Pogba's considering buying out his contract so he can leave United. He said that's not the case. That won't happen. Pogba wouldn't do that, and it's not going to happen. There was also this story that Pogba had sort of threatened United not to extend his contract by a year, and Fabrizio Romano said, look, if people want to sign Paul Pogba from Manchester United, Pogba knows they've got to negotiate with Manchester United. He also knows that United can extend his contract and will extend his contract when they so wish. So, but what he did say is that Juventus, because he's more of an Italian journalist, he did say that Juventus do see Pogba as a priority signing if they can do it, but they're going to have to offload some players first before they go for Pogba. So hence the Pogba, United, Real Madrid triangle will keep spinning, and we'll just wait and see. But I think it's good that someone like Fabrizio Romano, who would have contacts within the game, especially I think Mino Raiola, I think that's why Marzio. Do you remember the summer when we signed Pogba and we signed Zlatan and we signed Mkhitaryan? All of those were Raiola clients, and Marzio was pretty much bang on early on all of them. And I think that's because Marzio, Romano have got good relationships with Mino Raiola. So when Fabrizio Romano is saying that Manchester United are not going to be, he's not going to be buying out his contract or forcing a move, I think we can take that. But we'll just have to see what happens with Pogba. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but Fabrizio Romano has said that is the case, and we'll have to see. I mean, the thing is, Pogba will play for United again. He's fit. He will play for United. When the football comes back, he will play for United. Rashford will play for United. Whether it's June, July or August, this season, I believe, will get completed, and Pogba and Rashford will play. And when Pogba plays for United, you may see a very, very different Manchester United, because it'll have Pogba and Bruno with either Matic, McTominay or Fred with them, all of which have been very good. You'll have Martial, who's been brilliant. You'll have Rashford off the left, a very good defence. I think you're going to see a very good United side. So who knows? Who knows what will happen with regards to that? But yeah, I never thought for 1 minute that Pogba would be buying out his contract. That would be a very, very big statement to do that. I'm going to take some of your questions in a moment, but some other news that came out today. Fosu Mensah has had his year. So United have a lot of players who they'll give him a 3-year contract with the option of another year. Most of the time, United will extend that year. And Pogba's got one, Martial had one, De Gea had one, Matic has had one, which has been recently extended. Fosu Mensah's got one. So Fosu Mensah would have been out of contract, I think, in the summer. United have extended his contract by a year, which I think is encouraging. I mean, look, I think in football you should always be open-minded to have your opinion change. Everybody who says Jesse Lingard's finished at United, and I'm sort of on that boat. You never know. He might suddenly start playing well consistently. I don't think he will do, but you never know. You can't absolutely say he won't do. I genuinely thought Andreas Pereira was going to be a superstar at United. I knew a lot about him in the youth setup. He went on loan to Granada, played very, very well in a relegation side. He then went to Valencia, didn't do so well, and it's sort of gone down from there. And I now look at Pereira and think he ain't good enough for United, and I don't think he's ever going to be. But he might prove me wrong, but I don't think he's going to be. I think, is he, 23, 24 now as well? He's just not going to be the player I thought he was going to be. Fosu Mensah is another one. I looked at Fosu Mensah and I never really thought he was a right back. I thought he's more of a CDM. He's got that sort of Mikel Essien, Kante, David Batty. People are, who's David Batty? Just tenacious centre defensive midfielder about him, and that's what I thought he was going to be. Goes on loan, bit like Pereira. Goes on loan, Fulham, Crystal Palace first. Did all right. I mean, Leroy Sané played against Fosu Mensah at Palace against Man City, and Leroy Sané said the best right back I've played against this season is Fosu Mensah. Made a few mistakes. Came back, went on loan to Fulham, didn't go well at all, and then got a big injury. Fosu Mensah probably is not going to make it at Manchester United. I think he's one of those players that could have done, but he's probably not going to make it. Good point here from... who said it? Why is that whizzed through too fast? Somebody said it and it whizzed past. That Ethan Laird is better. And Ethan Laird is a player that I think we're all hoping is going to be a really good signing for United. But I like Fosu Mensah, but I just don't think he's going to make it at United because he didn't grab the opportunities on loan. He's also had a major injury. He's been out for a very long time, So everything's up against him. Having said that, it's good that United have given him that year because there was talk of him going to Ajax and stuff like that. I think Ollie will have a good look at him. And I think if Ollie decides no, then we know he's not good enough. But if Ollie thinks there's a player there, then he will get his chance. But I tell you what, percentage-wise, what's yours? What do you think the chances are of Fosu Mensah becoming the player we hoped he would be? I would say they're as little as 25% now because of the injuries, because of the major injury, because of the way the loans went. But at least we're giving him another chance. We all want him to succeed, but I haven't got high hopes, to be honest with you. But I hope he does. Hi Mark, the UFC are putting a fight on and they are acquiring an island to do any events. Any thoughts? Thanks for the content, says Adam. Well, we saw WrestleMania behind closed doors, didn't we? People are determined to get things on, and I think that with regards to the football, I saw an article about Italian football today and how Italy's been decimated by this virus, and yet they are so in love with football and they are so determined and excited about getting their football back. And I think that that's what some people don't realise about all of this. There are those people out there who say void it and cancel it, but there's a lot of people like me who love football, hate what's going on, and see football as a good thing. And it's almost defiance against this global evil that's consuming us all and changing all our lives. That the day we get our football back, we can say up yours. So I mean, look, whether you should be buying an island to do UFC in the midst of this crisis. I think there's a lot to be said for let's bunker down for a month or two and let's get on top of this, and then when we're on top of it, let's start bringing things back. But I think for now, I'm not convinced that let's be defiant in the middle of the highest death rates and we've not hit the peak. But I certainly think come May, June, let's start seeing ways we can get things back. New jumper, very vibrant, says Josh Bowater. Mark Goldbridge, the best thing to come out of the Midlands since Duncan Edwards. Wow, I tell you what, I don't know about that, Josh, but the jumper's very, very vibrant. Do you think it will happen if we don't get Champions League? Do you think we'll get Sancho, or will he go somewhere else, says Sean Leathers? I think if we get the Champions League, I think we'll sign Jadon Sancho. If we don't get Champions League football, then there is a debate to be had about whether we can do that deal. But it could still happen. I think that Jadon Sancho is very devoted to his career and very driven. And I've always said if we don't get Champions League football, it might not happen. But having said that, go back to what we said a few minutes ago. What's best for his career? Manchester United is a club that, if it's run correctly, should always be fighting for titles and fighting in the Champions League. Not winning it, but fighting for it. And we've not done that for a long time. We need a right winger. We're a club that's always going to be a big club. Jadon Sancho might look at it and go, you know what, that's the project I want to be part of. Timo Werner spoke about this a few weeks ago, and he probably won't come to United, but he used United as the example. He said, you can go to an established club that's already winning things like a Liverpool or a Bayern Munich. I can stay where I am and I'm happy, or I can go to a big club that's not doing what it should do but could do it and be part of that project. And he mentioned Manchester United, and I think that works for Jadon Sancho as well. Thanks for all the content every day, Mark, says Daniel Dryber. I just want to say 2 shout outs really today. Brilliant lunchtime. I was sat there having my lunch doing a bit of work, listening to Flex and Darren Brent at lunchtime. I love these 1 o'clock interviews we've been doing recently, and really, really good different sort of content that we can't normally do. On that topic, we have got, over the Easter weekend, because it is the Easter weekend, 3 brilliant interviews to put up for you. Brilliant. One is 2.5. I'd say 2 legends for different ways of Manchester United, and a brilliant one about transfers. So yeah, really excited about that, and more to come. And of course, there's 3 legends on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock as well, which is me, Flex, and Rance for the round. We had the pilot of the quiz on last Saturday night. Loads of people loved it, and we've got episode 2 of the quiz on Saturday night. I think Flex and Rance have been doing their own work on general knowledge, so hopefully they'll get a little bit closer to me this time. But the quiz on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Loved it last week. It's back again this week. So essential viewing for everybody, I think. Darren Bent scored over 100 Premier League goals, by the way, people who don't put respect on his name. I know he's not an ex-United player, but he's somebody that we had the opportunity to get on. He agreed to come on, so why not do a Q&A with him? And 100 Premier League goals, played with a lot of decent players like Grealish and Bale, etc. Thanks for the contribution, Ryan Berberspin. I just want to check if there's anything else I needed to tell you about before I start taking some of your questions. No, I think we're okay. There was one story I wanted to bring in, actually. Corriere della Sport. I don't know whether it was Corriere. It was an Italian outlet basically saying that James Rodriguez may be available for as little as £25 million this summer. Now, there was a story yesterday I discussed about Pogba for James Rodriguez, which everybody quite rightly said no. Would you take James Rodriguez at Manchester United for £25 million? These are the sort of bargains that could be available this summer. It's interesting because I know there's videos of me on this channel over the years saying James Rodriguez, I'd love him to come, wand of a left foot. That's where wand of a left foot started for me. That's where I found the saying wand of a left foot, because James Rodriguez has got one. I've got to be honest, and this is what I'm on about, how opinions can change over time with evidence. I wouldn't take James Rodriguez. Shock. I would not take James Rodriguez at Manchester United, because I think he's a player that I would have wanted at United for a long time, but I think we've moved on. I think we've moved on from this. I said it the other night, didn't I? James Rodriguez for me drops into the Di Maria, the Alexis Sanchez, the Bastian Schweinsteiger sort of signing. Massive risk, massive wages. not where we're going. So for me, I'm sorry, even if it's 20 million, I'm not taking James Rodriguez anymore if I'm having a say in it, which I don't, but I wouldn't. Which surprises me, because I never thought I would say no to James Rodriguez for 20-25 million, but I just don't think it's where we're going anymore. And that's one thing I would say is positive about United over the last year. We've got a definitive plan of where we're going in relation to transfers. Our last home game was a month, the Mank derby, says Yazza said. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you something else a little bit more sombering as well. Tonight, right now, we should be playing the quarter-final first leg of the Europa League. Tonight, right now, 8:30, we would have been playing the first leg of the quarter-final of the Europa League. And we would have been playing it, wouldn't we? I can't even remember what was the score against Last Links? Was it like 3-0 or something? I can't even remember what the score of our last game was. I feel like I've been in a coma or something. But yeah, tonight, I was looking at my diary earlier, and Europa League quarter-final 1 would have been tonight. So, but it is what it is, isn't it? You know, we can't dwell on that. We might get it back, we might not. 5-0 against Last League. I can't even remember. And you know why? It's because I'm doing so much bloody FIFA career mode. I'm like, I can tell you the scoreline against bloody Lazio in my Europa League semi-final. That classic game. But I can't tell you what the scoreline was in that. It was about 4 or 5-0, says Jonathan Gallagher. Yeah, I can't remember it being 5. They were shit though, weren't they? They were absolutely shite. Pereira scored our last goal, says Samuel. And that was the last game, wasn't it? Right, let's start taking some of your questions. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching. It'd be nice to get 1,000 likes while we are. And Martin Larson's just arrived. What's happening? We're finishing now, mate. See you later. No, we're not. If we sign Sancho, do you think James will not play? Says Spike MNG. Look, I don't know how many of you watch my Manchester United FIFA career mode on Mark Goldbridge That's Football. You should watch it because it's very entertaining. But also, what I would say about that is, and I know obviously FIFA's not real life, but it's entertaining in the time when we don't have it. But on a serious note, look at Dan James over the... I mean, I envy anybody who didn't watch it, because you could watch it from episode 1 all the way to 23, get all of season 1 and move into season 2 and catch up. What a weekend that could be of Easter. But seriously, look at the use of Dan James on that career mode. He's never been a starter for me, but many people who watch that career mode would say he's one of the best players you've got, because he starts the odd game, comes off the bench and always makes an impact, and he's hardly started any games. So I do think that we get lost in this what we're like a bunch of chickens. Like, what's going to happen if we don't... What happens to Mason Green if we sign Timo Werner? What happens to Dan James if we sign Jadon Sancho? Well, if we sign Jadon Sancho, we've got Rashford, Martial and Sancho. What happens to Rashford if he gets injured? Dan James. What happens to Jadon Sancho if he gets injured? Dan James. You know, what happens in the last 20 minutes of the game where you need some fresh legs? Dan James. Like, there's... I know not a lot of you do, but some of you do, and I'm not criticising you, but some of you do this. You get lost in the fact that if we buy a player, it might mean somebody else never plays, or it stunts their development. You need a squad. Go back to watch what we were doing as a watch-along the other week, the 99 final. Cole and York start, Sheringham, Solskjaer come in. That's 4 strikers. Do you think we were sat there all season going, oh, what's happening to Solskjaer and Sheringham? They played bloody loads and they scored loads of goals. We had 4 quality strikers and they all played their part. This is how you become a good team. And Dan James will be absolutely fine if he fulfills his talent. Should we get a Garlo on a permanent deal for third choice, says Kalsa Dija? I think United will look to do that, Kalsa. I mean, whether we should do or not, I don't know. All I've said about Agarlo is I like him. I think he is this great cult hero. But are we making the same mistake we made with Ollie a year ago, where he had a great 3 months, give him a contract, keep him forever, leaves at the wheel, and are we doing it again a year later, not learning? Oh, look at Agarlo, he's been great for a month, give him a 3-year contract, Igalo, oh, Igalo, oh, he's shit now. You know, I like him, I'm there to say give him a contract, but then in the back of my head I'm thinking about Ollie a year ago and I'm going, are we jumping into the same mistake again, when actually you could send Agarlo back to China in the summer and bring in a Timo Werner who's like 24, who's are available for 50 million, and he's going to be a quality. He's going to tear the Premier League up. Timo Werner's better than Ighalo. There's no joke about it. So it's also about what your limitations. I haven't got a problem if we keep Ighalo, but there's not a lot of future in it. He's 31 in the summer. Hi Mark, not sure how much you hear about this, but every study from outside England says the UK will be the worst hit. Up to 60,000 deaths. Please remind people to stay home. If not, no football, says Kevin O'Keefe. I don't know where that study's come from, Kevin. I think there are a lot of fake news people out there. I listened to something yesterday that had actually come through on my daughter's phone. She's 12. She's got friends, and one of them had forwarded it from somewhere else. And it's somebody who sounds quite serious, who makes out they're working for the NHS, basically spouting shit. So you've got to be very careful about information. But you're not, Kevin, because you're absolutely spot on. I don't know whether we're going to be hit the worst in the UK or not. It's as bad as anywhere else at the moment. But without a shadow of a doubt, stay home, stay safe, and we'll get through this. I can't understand the mindset of people now, because the first week or so of this lockdown, I was doing daily videos on Going for Goldbridge. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I think I've settled into it now. I know what it is. It's not ideal. It's not what I want to be doing, but I'm into the rhythm of it. And there is not one bit of me that wants to start going outside and mingling with people. I see the news. I see people are dying. I see young people dying. I see horrible things are happening. Why would I want to go to a barbecue? Why would I want to go to a party? Why would I wouldn't, if I got an invite to a barbecue tomorrow at my best mate's house, I'd say, sorry mate, not coming. Party pooper, fuck off, I'm not coming. I just would not go, because I don't want to get it, and I don't want to spread it to anybody that's in my house. So I wouldn't do it. So I think we've got to move past the stay home, stay safe thing and say, why would you? Because let's interpret it. These people who are doing it are being called selfish idiots. And maybe they are. But I would say idiots. Because if they were selfish, surely they'd have more care for themselves. If you go to these places, you could get it and you could die. We've been saying don't go to these places because you could get it and pass it on to someone else who could die. But if you go out to your party or your barbecue, you could get it, you could die. That's the message that needs to go out. Because if they are selfish people, that might be the message that they get. But I don't get it. I don't get why. I think it's sad that we're still having to tell people to stay home and stay safe. Because what sort of idiot are they not to be doing it? This is not for people who are over 70. Our Prime Minister is relatively fit and he's in his 50s and he's only just come out of intensive care. He's quite lucky. There are people who are dying of a young age. So, I haven't even got a problem now if we're appealing to selfish people and saying, look after yourself, don't kill yourself, stay in. That might work. Because the look after everyone else clearly doesn't. So stay home, stay safe. You lot know what you're doing. The more we do it, the quicker we'll come out of this. Mark, if we sell Aubameyang, we'll go for Werner. He will want to play under Arteta more than Ollie. Oh, God. Zane's really struggling with isolation. I think he thinks they're getting messy as well. There is a reason Werner mentioned United and not Arsenal in his interview, says Pranash. Exactly. Mid-table club. It's hilarious, actually, Zane. Check out my latest FIFA career mode. Liverpool are top of the league. You beat them, Arsenal, 1-0. We played your next game. Go and watch it. You'll really enjoy it. COVID idiots, says Mojo. Any more questions? Don't go out, stay home. Still won't stop. Idiots going out over the weekend as they think they won't catch it, says Stephen Day. Well, that's it. They're just idiots. Absolute idiots. And I wouldn't wish this on anybody, but they're risking their own lives. They're risking other lives, but they're risking their own lives. Would Werner even know what an Arsenal is, says Josh Bowert. I think German clubs know what Arsenal is. It's a club where if you get them in the Champions League, it's a bye to the next round. You should do a live Going for Goldbridge. This is great, says Elvin Blocks. I'm tempted to do a live Going for Goldbridge, but I've been doing my Call of Duty stuff on there recently, which I'm quite enjoying. Do English players like La Liga, says Josh. Beckham did. Michael Owen did. Oh, Sin for Gin says people think this isn't real. Well, you know what? I was doing my Call of Duty stream an hour ago, and people were in the live comments saying that Boris has come out of intensive care, and somebody was said, I don't believe he was ever in it anyway. I said this to my wife 2 nights ago. I said, hopefully pray to God that Boris will come through this as our Prime Minister. But I guarantee if he does come through it, the conspiracy theorists will say he was never ill in the first place. You just can't win with these plonkers. You really, really can't. Do you remember when Kante scored? Says A1. Oh, yeah, I do. See, we're getting into my career mode now because it's the only real football action we have. Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, if you want to check it out. It is entertaining. You would enjoy it. If you like football, you would enjoy the career mode. You don't need to like FIFA. Did you hear what happened to Anfield Agenda? Says Only what people told me at the start of the week. I would very much like if United bought Skriniar this summer. As Sir Alex Ferguson said, without world-class defence, you won't get anywhere. What do you guys think? Says Martin Larson. I think Skriniar and Maguire would be a weird combination because I do like Skriniar, but I'm not convinced that he's ultra fast, if you know what I mean. What are best United young players out on loan? Says King Nargan. And would you take Cavani at United? Says Kieran White. No. I'd rather keep a Garlo than get a Cavani. I don't. Cavani would be ridiculously expensive, and I just don't think taking a player of that age in the Premier League who's never played in the Premier League is a good idea. And he's injury prone. So no, I wouldn't. Should be going for Varane for speed, says George Card. I mean, Varane would be brilliant for United, of course he would. Here's Zane's come back. Arsenal had the greatest striker ever in the league, Henry, and the best defence with Adams Keown, but United had the best player of all time with Ronaldo, who we nearly signed. Nearly signed FC are back. And Fergie always said the way you will win a title is starting with a strong back four, says Stephen Diak. But he wasn't actually right, was he? Sir Alex Ferguson won so many titles because he basically had himself on the pitch in Roy Keane. You take Roy Keane out of those title-winning sides, we wouldn't have won hardly any. United were playing the derby game with that Rooney goal. I still jump seeing that, says Mojo. You know what? Funny story. Here's a story for you. Bit of nostalgia. That Wayne Rooney goal, Man City United, I didn't see that game. I saw it on Match of the Day. You know why I didn't see it? I was working in the police at the time and I was on a late shift, so I couldn't watch the game. And people were saying, "Oh, you should have took it off." But this is not about me. This is about the Superman Blue. This is about the NHS. These people, I had to stop playing football at 26 because I couldn't commit to playing weekends, because when you work in an emergency services, you don't work Monday to Friday 9 till 5. You get your shift plan. You might be working nights for 4 nights. You might be working late. You can't play for a football team on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning because you're never going to get every Saturday or Sunday off. And that was why I never saw that Man City Rooney goal on the game, because you can't just say, "Oh, I need every Man United game off to sit at home and watch it or go to Old Trafford or whatever." So I didn't see that game. I didn't see that goal live. It's one of the ones that really pisses me off, actually. But that's because I was working in the emergency services. So yeah, it's the job they do. I mean, I'm not saying it's heroic to miss a Manchester United goal. It was just pissed me off. But this is what I mean. These people who do this, they don't do normal jobs, do they? They are heroes, and we started with them and we'll finish with them. They are absolute heroes. Right, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We will be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as per usual. We'll have Man United news in the morning around 10 o'clock, and we have got, I don't know which interview's going up at 1 o'clock tomorrow, but they're all brilliant over the next 3 days. So just keep your eyes peeled for those. Arsenal's best ever out and out striker had to come to United to win a trophy. Van Persie, God of Honour. Josh Bowater. And on that bombshell from Josh, we'll end the show there. What a great comment. There's no time for Zane to come back. And welcome to Sin for Gin, the latest member of the club. Thanks everyone who's putting the super chats in and joining the members club. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon.